Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and pranams. Thank you very much for joining in at a new time today, right? So somehow it was not working out. So finally we meet at 7:30 p.m. today. We're continuing with our Krishna book study from chapter number 83. So let's start with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Namo Pankajanaභaya Namo Pankajamaline Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangraye. Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate Nanyam Tvadabhayam Pashe Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhayankara Tvameko Dhayamananam Apavargosi Samshrute. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yadkripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanyamishwaram. Harihi Om Tatsat. Ajanulambito bhujau kanakavadato sankirtanaikapitaro kamalayataksho Vishwambarao Dijavaro Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro. आराध्य भगवान ब्रजेश तनयास तद्धाम वृंदावनम रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधू वर्गेण वा कल्पिता. श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेम पुमर्तो महान्. श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभोर्मतमिदं तत्र धरनापरा. ऐ दीन दयाद्रनाथ है मथुरा नाथ कदा अवलोक्यसे. हृदयं त्वदलोककातरं दैत्य भ्राम्यति किं करोम्यहम्। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं। हरिः ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, thank you very much for joining in for our Krishna book study session. So, we've been studying, the chapters where Sudama is visiting Lord Sri Krishna and how Rukmini Devi, the queen of Krishna, is actually fanning Sudama. And Lord Krishna himself personally washed the lotus feet. Washed the feet of Sudama. Right? And in this way, Sudama goes back and he does not ask anything from Krishna, but yet the Lord bestows him with everything, right? The highest of it being the loving reciprocation, right? With Lord Shri Krishna himself. So today we are going to chapter number 83, where we see Yudhishthira Maharaj along with Draupadi. They all go to Dwaraka to meet with Lord Shri Krishna and the queens. So today's chapter is entitled Draupadi meets the queens of Krishna. So let me share my screen. Let's quickly start reading this chapter. This is a very interesting chapter, how Draupadi is meeting Rukmini, Satyabhama and all the queens. And let's see what is the discussion about. So let me... Okay, I see Sindhu Mataji's hand up. Yes, Mataji, go ahead. Draupadi meets the queens of Krishna. And then Karpagavali Mataji can read. Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams.
Pranams Mataji, yes.
Pranams. Chapter 83. By word Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Draupadi meets the queens of Krishna. There were many visitors who came to see Krishna, and among them were the Pandavas, headed by King Yudhishthira. After talking with the gopis and bestowing upon them the greatest benediction, Lord Krishna welcomed King Yudhishthira and other relatives who had come to see him. He first of all inquired from them whether their situation was auspicious. Actually, there is no question of ill fortune for anyone who sees the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Yet, when Lord Krishna, as a matter of etiquette, inquired from King Yudhishthira about his welfare, the king became very happy by such a reception and addressed the Lord thus: My dear Lord Krishna, great personalities and devotees in full Krishna consciousness always think of your lotus feet and remain fully satisfied by drinking the nectar of transcendental bliss. The nectar which they constantly drink sometimes comes out of their mouths and is sprinkled on others as the narration of your transcendental activities. This nectar coming from the mouth of a devotee is so powerful that if one is fortunate enough to have the opportunity to drink it, he is immediately freed from the continuous journey of birth and death. Our material existence is caused by our forgetfulness of your personality, but fortunately, the darkness of forgetfulness is immediately dissipated if one is privileged to hear about your glories. Therefore, my dear Lord, where is the possibility of ill fortune for one who is constantly engaged in hearing your glorious activities? Since we are fully surrendered unto you and you have no other shelter other than your lotus feet, we are always confident of a good fortune. My dear Lord, you are the ocean of unlimited knowledge and transcendental bliss. The reactions of mental concoctions in the three phases of material life, wakefulness, sleep, and deep sleep, cannot exist in Krishna consciousness. All such reactions are invalidated by the practice of Krishna consciousness. You are the ultimate destination of all the liberated persons. Out of your independent will only, you have descended to this earth by the use of your own internal potency, Yogamaya, and to re-establish the Vedic principles of life, you have appeared just like an ordinary human being. Since you are the Supreme Person, there cannot be any ill luck for one who has fully surrendered unto you. When Lord Krishna was busy meeting various kinds of visitors, and while they were engaged in offering prayers to the Lord, the female members of the Kuru dynasty and the Yadu dynasty took the opportunity to meet with one another and engage in talk of Lord Krishna's transcendental pastimes. The first inquiry was made by Draupadi to the wives of Lord Krishna. She addressed them, "My dear Rukmini, Bhadra, Jambavati, Satya, Satyabhama, Kalindi, Shaibya, Mitravindya, Lakshmana, Rohini, and all the other wives of Lord Krishna, will you please let us know how Lord Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, accepted you as his wives and married you in pursuance of the marriage ceremonies of ordinary human beings?" Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dhanat Pranam. So, Machchittamadgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha, right? So, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Machchittamadgata Prana. My devotees, they always think of me. They consider me as their life. Machchittamadgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam, right? They enlighten each other about me. Katayantascha Mam Nityam. They discuss about my Leelas. Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. And they derive great pleasure in discussing about me. So in this way, we see here Yudhishthira Maharaj also, when he meets Krishna, when he comes to Dwaraka, when he meets Krishna, he's glorifying Krishna. Right, Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like that, Yudhishthira Maharaj is praising Lord Shri Krishna, and the female members like Draupadi takes the opportunity to meet with the queens of Krishna, Rukmini, Satyabhama, Kalindi, and all the queens of Krishna. And basically, they want to discuss Krishna Katha, how Krishna married them, and how they are serving Krishna in a way that's pleasing to Lord Shri Krishna, like that. So devotees always would like to know how other devotees are serving the Lord, how they are developing that relish in hearing about the Lord and talking about the Lord. And that's what we do in the association of devotees. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koya, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoya. Right? So even when we are going through a low phase, or when we are not able to serve nicely, but when we are in the association of those devotees, who are constantly endeavoring to serve the Lord in spite of their difficult times, then we get inspired by such association. We also want to continue our service, and we are continuing our service during difficult times. Then we are especially favored by the Lord. The Lord especially likes it, right? When we're making that endeavor, especially when the times are not going as per our plan, right? In that way, then we should understand that a higher plan is in action, and we should always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. And how do we do that? By chanting Hare Krishna, by discussing in the association of devotees about Krishna. So in that way, we surrender to the Lord, and in that way, we get strength to practice our devotional service in all circumstances of life, like that. Okay, let's move ahead. So Draupadi is asking how the queens got married to Krishna and how they've been serving Krishna. So let's see what Rukmini Devi is replying. Karpakali Mataji, go ahead. To this question, Karpakali Mataji, please unmute yourself. You're not audible. Yes, Mataji, you're not audible. Are you speaking? I can see you, but I cannot hear you.
What happened?
Yeah. It's audible now. Go ahead. Hare Krishna, Hare
No,
Krishna.
Mataji, no?
Yes. Go ahead. This question,
No, Mataji, no?
I can hear you, Mataji. Please go
Yes,
ahead.
thank you. Thank you, Mataji, thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. To this question, the chief of the queens, Rukmini Devi replied, My dear Draupadi, it was practically a settled fact that princes like Jarasandha wanted me to marry King Sisubala, and as is usual, all the princes present during the marriage ceremony were prepared with their armor and weapons to fight with any rival who dared to stop the marriage. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead kidnapped me the way a lion takes away a lamb from their flock. This was not, however, a very wondrous act for Lord Krishna, because anyone who claims to be a great hero or a king within this world is subordinate to the lotus feet of the Lord. All kings trust their helmets to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. My dear Draupadi, it is my eternal desire that life after life I be engaged in the service of Lord Krishna, who is the reservoir of all pleasure and beauty. This is my only desire and ambition in life. After this, Satyabhama began to speak. She said, My dear Draupadi, my father was very much afflicted with the death of his brother Krsna, and he falsely accused Lord Krishna of killing his brother and stealing the Saimbaka jewels It had actually been taken by Jambavan. Lord Krishna, in order to establish his pure character, fought with Jambavan and rescued the Samantika jewel, which he later developed and delivered to my father. My father was very much ashamed and sorry for accusing Lord Krishna of his brother's death. After getting back the Samantika jewel, he thought it wise to rectify his mistake. So, although he had promised others my hand in marriage, he submitted the jewel and me at the lotus feet of Krishna, and thus I was accepted as his maid servant and wife. After this, Dambati replied to Draupadi's question. He said, "My dear Draupadi, when Lord Krishna attacked my father, Jambavan, the king of the Rakshas, the father did not know that Lord Krishna was the former master of Ramchandra, the husband of Sita. Not knowing the identity of Lord Krishna, the father fought with him continuously for 27 days. After this period, when he became petty, he could understand that since no one but Lord Ramchandra could defeat him, his opponent, that Krishna must be the same Lord Ramchandra. He thus came to his senses and immediately returned the Samandika Manjal. Furthermore, he satisfied the Lord. He presented me to him to become his wife. In this way, I was married to the Lord, and thus my desire to be a survivor of Krishna's life and the life of the life was fulfilled. After this, Kalinji said, "My dear Draupadi, I was engaged in great austerities and penances to get Lord Krishna as my husband. When he became aware of this right, he very kindly came to me with his friend Arjuna and accepted me as his wife. Lord Krishna then took me away from the bank of Yamuna, and since then I have been engaged in the house of Lord Krishna as a keeper, and the Lord is treating me as his wife." After this, Mitra Vinda Devi, my dear Draupadi, there was a great assembly of princes at the Swayambara ceremony. The personal selection of a husband. Then Lord Krishna was also present in that meeting, and he accepted me as his new servant by defeating all the princes there. He immediately took me away to Dwaraka exactly as the lion takes his prey from the pack of dogs. When I was thus taken away by the Lord Krishna, my brothers wanted to fight him, and later they were defeated. Thus my desire to become the new servant of Lord Krishna, the life of the life was fulfilled. After this, Satya addressed Draupadi in the way, "My dear Draupadi, my father arranged for an assembly of me, Swayambara, and to test the strength of the heroism of the prospective bridegroom. He stipulated that he fight with the 7 ferocious bulls, which had long sharp horns. Many heroic prospects tried to defeat the bulls, but unfortunately they were all severely struck and they returned to their homes as defeated invalids. Then Lord Krishna came and fought with the bulls. They were just like replacements for him. He captured the bulls, and they were just like he captured the bulls and roped each one of them by his nostrils. Thus they become under his control, just as a goat. Small kids come very easily under the control of the children. My father was very much pleased and married me to Lord Krishna with great pomp, giving as my dowry many divisions of soldiers, horses, chariots, and elephants, along with hundreds of meat servants. Thus Lord Krishna brought me to his capital Dwaraka. On the way back, he was assaulted by many princes, but Lord Krishna defeated all of them, and thus I have the privilege of serving his lotus feet as a maid servant. After this, Bhadra began to speak. She said, "My dear Draupadi, Lord Krishna is the son of my maternal uncle. Fortunately, I became attracted to his lotus feet. When my father understood these feelings of mine, he personally arranged for my marriage, inviting Lord Krishna to marry me and giving him in dowry one Ashwini or division of armed forces, along with many maidservants and other royal paraphernalia. I do not know whether I shall be able to have the help of Lord Krishna life after life, but I still pray to the Lord that wherever I may take my birth, I may not forget my relationship with the lotus feet." Then Lakshmana said, "My dear queen, many times I heard that the great priest Narada glorifying the pastimes of Lord Krishna. I became attached to the lotus feet of Krishna when I heard Narada say that the goddess of fortune Lakshmi was attached to his lotus feet. Since then I have always been thinking of him, and thus my attraction to him has increased. Maybe explaining the father was very affectionate towards me. When he understood that I was attracted to Krishna, he devised his plan like that given by your father. During the Swayambhara, the prospective bridegroom had to pierce the eyes of a fish with their arrows. The difference between the competition in your Swayambhara and mine was that in your dream, fish was hanging openly on the ceiling in clear blue, but in mine, the fish was covered and could be seen only by its reflection in a pot of water. And that was the special feature of my Swayambhara. The news of this device spread all over.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
All right, so we had a quick recap. These were all individual chapters. If you all recollect, we've been reading, right? How Krishna married Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jambavati, Kalindi, right? And Lakshmana, right? All of these were one individual chapters. It's a quick summary now. Very wonderful how Draupadi is asking each one of the queens how they married Lord Shri Krishna. And what is all of them saying, right? Even Rukmini, we saw, she just heard about the glories of the Lord from a Brahmana and she got a desire to want to get married to Krishna and wanted to serve Krishna. Right? We are all in that state only, right? We are all hearing about Krishna, but we need to reawaken our love for Krishna, just like Rukmini developed, just like, Lakshmana, right? And Lakshmana's marriage was very, very similar to Draupadi's herself, right? Where Arjuna also did that only. He also hit the eye of a fish, right? Which was on the ceiling, right? But now Lakshmana is explaining that for her Swayambara, the fish was not even directly there. The fish was only the reflection could be seen in a pot of water, and basis that the eye of the fish had to be pierced with an arrow, and that's what Lord Shri Krishna did. Right? So quickly we did a recap of all the queens, how they got married to Krishna, and what was the intention of all of the queens. All of the queens felt that they were maid servants of Krishna. They simply wanted to serve Krishna, right? They were not proud. Oh, I am Krishna's wife, right? Because whenever there is false pride, I, me, aham, mameti, Krishna will not be there. Krishna will leave that place immediately. That's why Trinadabhishunichena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadina Kirtaniya Sadahari. We can chant the holy names of the Lord continuously only when we are humble, only when we are grateful, only when we are offering all respects to others without expecting any respect in return, only when we are tolerant of all the situations of this world, and yet we surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Mama Janmani Ishware Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahituki Tvai. So whatever happens, right, I simply want to be engaged in your service, O Lord Sri Krishna. So that is the prayer of all the queens of Dwaraka, right? Of all the queens of Lord Sri Krishna. They all are praying for this only. And as devotees, we also need to pray for this. Mama Janmani Ishware Bhavatad Bhakti Rahituki Tvai. Let me eternally serve you, O Lord. Let me not have any other desire other than serving you, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, like that. Right? So it was a wonderful recap of all the pastimes of how the Lord got married to various queens. Now let's go ahead. Rajneesh Prabhu, you want to read? The news of this device spread all over from there.
Hare Krishna Mataji Damdra Pranam.
Yes, Prabhu.
The news of the device spread all over the world, and when the princes heard of it, they arrived at my father's capital city from all directions, fully equipped with armor and guided by their military instructors. Each of them desired to win me as his wife, and one after another, they raised the bow and arrow left there for casting the fish. Many could not even join the bowstring to the bow, to the two ends of the bow, and without attempting to pass the fish, they simply left the bow as it was and went away. Some with great difficulty drew the string from one end to the other, but being unable to tie the other end, they were suddenly knocked down by the spring-like bow. My dear queen, you will be surprised to know that at my Swambara meeting, there were many famous kings and heroes present. Heroes like Jarasandh, Ambastha, Shishupal, Bhimsena, Duryodhan, and Karna were of course able to string the bow, but they could not pass the fish. because it was covered and they could not trace it out of the reflection. The celebrated hero, the celebrated hero of the Pandavas, Arjuna, was able to see the reflection of the fish on the water, but although with great care he traced out the location of the fish and shot an arrow, he did not pass the fish in the right spot. But his arrow at least touched the fish, and so he proved himself better than all other princes. All the princes all the princes who tried to pass the target were disappointed, being baffled in their attempts, and some candidates even left the place without making an attempt. But when at last Lord Krishna took up the bow, he was able to tie the bowstring very easily, just as a child plays with a toy. He placed the arrow and looking only once at the reflection of the fish in the water, he shot the arrow and the past fish immediately fell down. The victory of Lord Krishna was accomplished at noon during the moment called Abhijit, which is astronomically calculated as auspicious. At that time, the vibration of Jai Jai, at that time, the vibration of Jai Jai was heard all over the world, and from the sky came so drums beaten by the Danians of heaven, great demigods were overwhelmed and with joy and showered flowers on the earth. At that time, I entered the arena of competition, and the ankle bells on my legs sounded very melodious as I walked. I was nicely dressed with new silken garments, flowers decorated my hair, and because of Lord Krishna's victory, I was in ecstatic joy and smiling very pleasingly. I carried in my hands a golden necklace bedecked with jewels which glittered at intervals. My curling hair encircled my face, which, which shone which shone with a bright luster due to the reflection of my various earrings. My eyes blinking, I first observed all the princes present, and when I reached my lord, placed I very slowly placed the golden necklace on his neck. As I have already informed you from the very beginning, my mind was attracted by Lord Krishna, and thus I considered the garlanding of Lord my great victory. As soon as I placed my garland on the neck of the Lord, there sounded immediately the combined vibration of mridangs, tatha, and anak, anaka drums, conch shells, kettle drums, and other instruments, causing a tum- tumultuous sound. And while the music played, expert male and female dancers began to dance, and singers began to sing sweetly. My dear Draupadi, when I accepted Lord Krishna as my worshipable husband, and he accepted me as his maid servant, there was a tumultuous roaring among the disappointing princes. All of them were very agitated because of their lusty desires, but without caring for them, my husband, in his form as the four-handed Narayana, immediately took me on his chariot, which was drawn by four excellent horses. Expecting opposition from the princes, he armored himself and took up his bow named Sharang, and then he celebrated driver Daruka drove the beautiful chariot without a moment's delay toward the city of Dwarika. Thus, in the presence of all the princes, I was carried away very quickly, exactly as exactly as a deer is carried away from the flock by a lion. Some of the princes, however, wanted to check our progress, and thus equipped with proper weapons, they opposed us just as dogs try to oppose the progressive march of a lion. At that time, due to arrows released by Charang bow of Lord Krishna, some of the princes lost their hands, some of them lost their legs, and some lost their heads and their lives, and others fled from the battlefield. The Supreme Personality of Godhead then entered the most celebrated city of the universe,
Hare Krishna.
Dwarika.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandat Pranam.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. तुम्हारे संग मन लागे रे हे सारंग धर हे sarang dhar. So here specifically in this past time where Krishna married Lakshmana, he actually pierced the eyes of the fish by looking at the reflection, right? So especially Krishna is addressed here as Sarangadhara, right? So Sarangadhara means especially we are worshipping that Lord Sri Krishna who also holds a bow and arrow, right? So generally we always associate Krishna with playing the flute and with the Sudarshan Chakra, right? But here it is very nice that Krishna is addressed as Sarangadhara, right? Someone who wields the bow and arrow. And it's also interesting. Arjuna also was in the Swayamvar. So I just recollected the first time. I'd also forgotten. So here also that means very clearly, Arjuna also lost, and it is very evident, right? Arjuna is supposed to be the best of the archers, right? But in this particular pastime, it also comes out, right? That when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is there, nobody else can win. Yet we say Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, Tatra Shri Vijayabhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Wherever there is Krishna and wherever there is Arjuna, there is eternally victory, opulence, right? And later on in one of the pastimes, you also see once Krishna left this mortal world, Arjuna could not even protect the queens of Krishna, right? So the power of the devotee is because of their association with Krishna. And Krishna can also put the devotees into illusion, right? In order to serve his purpose. That means if Krishna wants to preach Bhagavad Gita, he has put Arjuna into illusion. Arjuna is a pure devotee of the Lord. But Krishna put Arjuna into illusion and Arjuna was illusioned. It was not that he was acting. That, what is that? Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava prachami tvam dharma sammuda chetah yachreyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme sishyasteham shadi mam tvam prapannam. So when he's telling Krishna, I'm confused about my duty, I don't know what to do. It's not that he's acting. How can a pure devotee of the Lord not know his own duties? Right? He's still a pure devotee of the Lord, but he has been put into illusion by Yoga Maya, right? Pure devotees of the Lord are under Yoga Maya, and Krishna himself is under Yoga Maya by his own will. When he actually runs away from Mother Yashoda, and Yashoda Maya is trying to bind Krishna, and Krishna is scared of Mother Yashoda. You know the Damodar Lila that we hear every day in the Damodar month, right? It's not that Krishna is acting or Arjuna is acting, right? But they are all under Yoga Maya by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if Krishna wants to put somebody under illusion, the pure devotees also, they get covered by Yoga Maya. Yashoda Maya does not realize that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead whom I want to bind, whom I want to punish, isn't it? Because the Vatsalya Ras has to come through, then Yoga Maya serves the Lord according to the desire of the Lord, right? That the Lord himself forgets that I am the Lord. The Lord himself thinks I am the son of Yashoda Maya and she is running behind me. I am scared. I don't want to get caught. I don't want to get tied down. And his heart of hearts, he is so pleased. He wants to be bound by his devotees, right? That is the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. So this particular verse, it's a Sarangadhara. That means wherever there is Krishna and wherever there is Arjuna, there is victory. But it only when Lord Krishna's association is there, where Lord Krishna's service is there, wherever there is service to Lord Krishna, Krishna is personally present. So in that way, our life also can be eternally successful, right? It's not about externally whether the success is there or not, right? So eternally there is success if we are serving Lord Shri Krishna, if you're always remembering Lord Shri Krishna. Externally it may be perceived as a success or a failure, it does not matter. But when we serve or when we perform our swadharma for the pleasure of the Lord, we are already successful. Then externally the result that comes is only a matter of detail, which will pass, and we'll get so many opportunities. There'll be so many battles, right? In all those battles where we've surrendered to the Lord, we've already won those battles. And the more the number of battles we win like that, we're surrendering to the Lord, ultimately the war, at the time of death, will be tested, right? If we've won all the battles by remembering Krishna, then Krishna will enable us his remembrance at the time of death. And so the final war, we will be successful, right? I was hearing a lecture, they were giving an example of a boxing match, right? So we don't, there's two people who are boxing, one person is winning and the other person falls down. It is not until that person gets up, if the person gets up, again the match continues. And then, some person is declared that this person has won. But if that person gets up, again the match continues, right? So as long as we are getting up and we are striving to perform our duty for the pleasure of the Lord, we can never be vanquished, right? Daivi hayesha gunami mama maya duratyaya mame veye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. As long as we are surrendering to the Lord and we are continuing to perform our endeavors for the pleasure of the Lord, we will never be defeated. But the day we say, okay, I'm not going to get up, right? I'm exhausted, I'm tired. Then what we should do? We should take the association of devotees. They will help us get up, right? Get up, we have to, right? And we have to find ways and means of how we can get up. And that is the test. And in the human form of life, we can attain perfection simply if we're willing to get up and try again and again for the pleasure of the Lord. The Lord becomes so pleased, and with the mercy of the Lord, everything becomes easy, right? Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langayate girim yatkripatamaham mande, Shri Gurun Dinatarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram, right? They have the mercy of Guru, Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Then even a dumb person can speak eloquently. A cripple can cross mountains, right? So even the most conditioned soul, right, can attain the eternal perfection of Krishna Prema if only he takes shelter of Guru, follows his instructions, pleases the Guru, then he pleases Krishna. And the final destination is already attained like that. Okay, so let's quickly move ahead. We have a couple of paragraphs more. Okay, Shubhangi Keshi Mataji, go ahead. Supreme Personality of Godhead then entered. You can read from there.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead then entered the most celebrated city of the universe, Dwarka. And as he entered the city, he appeared like the shining sun. The whole city of Dwarka was profusely decorated on that occasion. There were so many flags and festoons and gates all over Dwarka that the sunshine could not even enter the city. I have already told you that my father was very affectionate to me. So when he saw that my desire had been fulfilled by my getting Lord Krishna as my husband, in great happiness he began to distribute to friends and relatives various kinds of gifts, such as valuable garments, ornaments, bed sheets, and sitting carpets. Lord Krishna is always self-sufficient. Yet my father, out of his own accord, offered my husband a dowry consisting of soldiers, elephants, chariots, horses, and many rare and valuable weapons. He presented all this to the Lord with great enthusiasm. My dear Queen, at that time I could guess that in my previous life I must have performed some wonderful pious activity, and as a result I can in this life be one of the maidservants in the house of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When all the principal queens of Lord Krishna had finished their statements, Rohini, as a representative of the other 16,000 queens, began to narrate the incident of their becoming wives of Krishna. My dear queen, when Bhaumasura was conquering all the world, he collected whatever possible all the beautiful daughters of the kings and kept us arrested within his palace. When news of our imprisonment reached Lord Krishna, he fought with Bhaumasura and released us. Lord Krishna killed Bhaumasura and all his soldiers, and although he had no need to accept even one wife, he nevertheless, by our request, married all 16,000 of us. My dear queen, our only qualification was that we were always thinking of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, which is the which is the way to release oneself from the bondage of repeated birth and death. My dear Queen Draupadi, please take it from us that we are not after any opulence such as a kingdom, an empire, or an position of heavenly enjoyment. We do not want to enjoy such material opulence, nor do we desire to achieve the yogic perfection, nor the exalted post of Lord Brahma. Nor do we want any of the different kinds of liberation, Sarupya, Salokya, Shashti, Samipya, or Sayujya. We are not at all attracted by any of these opulences. Our only ambition is to bear on our heads life after life the dust particles attached to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. The goddess of fortune also desires to keep that dust on her breast along with fragrant saffron. We simply desire this dust, which accumulates underneath the lotus feet of Krishna as he travels on the land of Vrindavan as a cowherd boy. The gopis especially, and also the cowherd men and the aborigine tribeswomen always desired to become the grass and stew of the street of Vrindavan, to be templated on by the lotus feet of Krishna. My dear queen, we wish to remain as such life after life without any other desire. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 38th chapter of Krishna. Draupadi meets the queens of Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So we complete the 83rd chapter of Krishna book, wherein the entire narration of how the 16,108 queens actually become Krishna's queens, and they all reply back to Draupadi's query, and how they got married, how they are serving Lord Shri Krishna, and what is the desire of all of the wives of Lord Shri Krishna. The desire is Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatat Bhaktir Ahitukitvayi. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kame mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahetukitvayi. So that can be our meditation, that we also serve Krishna, we also chant Hare Krishna, we also perform arati, we also dress the deities, we also offer bhoga to Krishna, we also do everything. But what should be the consciousness? Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahetukitvayi. Let me have this only desire to serve, satisfy, and please you, Lord Shri Krishna. If that is our meditation, our life will be successful in all, whatever be our position in this world, whatever be our activities in this world. If we simply remember Krishna and serve him simply for his pleasure, whether it is chanting Hare Krishna, doing Abhishek, or doing the dressing of the deities, or singing bhajans, or cooking for the Lord, whatever we are doing, if you're doing it simply for the pleasure of the Lord, that is a perfection of human form of life. So thank you very much. We'll quickly do 2-3 minutes of Harinam Sankirtan, and we'll end our session. So devotees can switch on your cameras. Thank you all for joining in at a different time. I know it would have been difficult, but thank you so much for accommodating and joining in. Thank you. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Vishadarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai Jai Jai Jagannath Jaya Jai Baludev Jai Jai Subhadra Jaya Jaya Sudarshan Jaya Bala Gopal Jaya Rukmini Vitthal Jai Prahlad Narsingh Jaya Guru Ayurappa Jai Radha Giridhari जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र, जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह, जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह, जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह, जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह, जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह, जय षड्गोस्वामी, जय गुरु परंपरा, जय प्रभुपादा, जय गुरुदेवा निताय गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल। कलियुग तमाम हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्री गुरुदेव की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। सो थैंक यू शुभांगी माता जी, कर्पकुली माता जी, सिंधु माता जी, Rajeshwari Mataji, Rajneesh Prabhu, and all the devotees. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Shila Prabhupada Shila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So tomorrow Sunday we'll not have our study session. We had it today because we could not have it yesterday. And tomorrow we have this His Grace Kamal Lochan Prabhu's Sannyas initiation ceremony at Radha Giridhari Mandir. So those of you who are able to come to Mumbai, please do come. Very, very wonderful initiation, sannyas initiation ceremony. At least I'm going to personally witness for the first time a sannyas initiation ceremony. So I'm eagerly looking forward to it. And Kamalochan Prabhu is our Siksha Guru. So it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for us to be part of the celebration. So those of you who are Mumbai, we are inviting you. I don't think any of you are from Mumbai, but maybe those of you who are watching on YouTube can join in. And day after tomorrow is Ekadashi. So please do join us. We will have a special session as always. And of course, we meet for Brahma Muhurta chanting at 5 o'clock tomorrow, Monday, and all the days. Please do join in for a few rounds also, if it's possible, between 5 and 7:15 a.m. And we meet on Monday for Brahma Muhurta chanting also at 5 o'clock, and also for our Ekadashi special session, most probably from 12 to 1. That's a plan. 12 to 1:15 maybe, yeah, because we'll be doing Ekadashi Mahatmya, then we'll be studying Bhagavad Gita. And also Gaur Purnima is coming, so we can also sing a wonderful bhajan glorifying Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So yeah, I think we've already had the poster, so I'll be sharing that also today. So do join us for the Ekadashi special session on Monday. So, and you can also take a Sankalpa to join extra rounds tomorrow. So like that, this week is going to be a wonderful celebratory week as always. So please do join us for our Zoom sessions. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.